So, hello everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the 4th Coffee with Mom. We're still thinking about trying to get to talking more about maybe our trips and all of that, but this whole COVID-19 thing is happening, and then I was out filming my vlog for the week, and then I started, one of the things that I said during that was, because, well, in the vlog, if you watch the vlog, I talk about that this situation has really forced me to think about like what I've already got, and is that like, and I think what I've got is actually what I want already, right? In terms of the house, the location, being able to take hikes right out my front door, a garage that fits both trucks and all of that kind of stuff. And so, but then in that vlog I mentioned that because Cindy and I had talked about getting land and doing some like off-grid stuff, or camping and RV and all that, and she always said, like you've told me, to always have a foundation. Yes, right?
Yes.
And so then I started thinking, I was like, well, with my mom's experience here, that everything just becomes hard.
Yes.
Later in life. And so it's like, want the foundation, want to make sure that we can, I guess I'll say it this way, is we can always press the easy button rather than being stuck out, somewhere in a RV or van or off grid or on property and all this, and everything becomes hard. Because let's just kind of give you the situation, like with Mom here is, here in her home, she's just a quarter mile from a grocery store. Right? And a quarter mile from your pharmacist, and maybe 2 miles from your doctors or something like that. And all of that is just hard.
Yes.
Right?
Just getting in and out of a car.
Right. And so then I was like, so when I came over here, Mom had some ideas of talking about some of our trips, which we'll get to, not this one, but we'll get to them. But then I said, well, can we talk about and just give you guys from her perspective just how life just becomes hard. Because if you watch the vlog too, I have a saying that says that everybody retires, right? You might think like, oh yeah, I'm going to choose to retire. It's like, well, no, retirement to me is not really the choice thing. It's like when you are forced to retire, and Mom's pretty much has been forced to retire, right? Just because of getting up and down and moving and all of that kind of stuff. So maybe this is more of a coaching session for Mom to maybe, talk about, because like you'd have one hip replaced, but you didn't do the other hip. And it was something that you and I, kind of went through. We even talked about the quality of life, and now that, might not have been the best decision. I don't know, but we can talk about that too. So, so I guess kind of give even from just a basic level, Mom is, so what is now just, what did you never imagine would be hard in life?
I think one of the hardest things is not having a purpose. I also have learned that maybe we don't appreciate what we have when we have it.
Right.
You're talking about
sure,
that. Yeah. Because once you don't have it, now I know there are a lot of people who are retired from work,
right,
who are physically able to go out and play golf every day. I used to play golf all the time. And so once you start losing that ability, then you start losing the desire to, to do anything, because you can't. I always use the analogy that your body is like a car. Things start to go wrong, you get rusty, and parts start to wear down. Sometimes you can get them replaced, and sometimes you can't. So I'm at that point where, my body is just not able to recover. And that happens. I mean, as you grow, as your body grows old and organs start to retire.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You might, like me, I had the kidney disease. It might be something else that develops, but it's just due to getting old.
Right.
And wearing down. I just don't feel useful anymore.
Right, yeah. Oh, you say that a lot. I mean, right? You just, you know,
well, it's
I'll do it. And it's like, no, it takes me literally 2 seconds.
And
right?
and that is something that I think maybe as a younger persons or persons, not just speaking you, but in general, that we take for granted what we are.
Right, sure.
And maybe that's a lesson to be learned from someone like me, is try and appreciate everything that you have.
Yeah. I mean, because I wouldn't really use the word me just because it's me. Use the word appreciate. I think it's just we don't even think about it.
No, I don't either.
Right? I mean, it's like,
It's
we moved you from your house to here.
Yes.
Right, because it was like you couldn't change light bulbs and taking care of the house and all that, and it was like, oh yeah, we'll move you right by us and all this, and you're right by a grocery store. And never did in my mind did I ever think about like, well, hell, mom can't. It's even the struggle for mom to go to the grocery store, even though it's right here, because where you lived before, you were
10 miles.
Yeah, 10 miles from the grocery store, which in all reality didn't really change much, because really the struggle for you is from your door here to the car and then bringing the groceries from the car back to this door, not really the drive.
Well, that and just getting in and out of the car.
Just getting out, yeah.
And I don't like to do a lot of errands in one day. I mean, I used to spend a whole day sometimes just running around.
Sure.
If nothing else, just shopping.
Right, yeah.
Well, no, that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
Even most of the time, I even either order my groceries online and go pick them up outside. That way I don't have to get out of the car. Or when I was staying at your house, I even had it delivered. That's a wonderful service, but it doesn't make you feel any better.
Yeah, exactly. That's that balance between, like you're talking about, like usefulness, purpose, and all this, and luxury and availability, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Because not being able to go get your groceries is kind of a standard thing that you've done all your life, and then not to be able to do that. I mean, it's like a real eye opener. It's, my God, I can't even go get walk around a store and buy my groceries.
Right.
I can still do it, but it's not a pleasure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean,
and I'm lucky that way. That at least I can do it if I want to.
Yeah, and then also as a baseline for the conversation is, well, there is stuff wrong with this part of her body, but it's not the issue, and that is your brain. So your brain's saying, let's go get groceries, let's go do stuff. And your body's like, yeah, this ain't going to really work out well for you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, thinking about it's not much effort. You don't have much physical effort.
Yeah, well, some people's, their brains go before their bodies.
Well, and
that's not what you have.
I'm very fortunate that, and I hope that continues until I do go. Because not only for me and my self-esteem, but for the care you would have to
right.
And I have to tell you that I'm very fortunate to have someone who can take care of me, and I get to the point sometimes where it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to ask Mike to do this for me, and it's demeaning.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, you haven't really asked me to clip your toes yet.
No,
your toenails.
That's an old story.
With a Dremel.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever. I think I did it. I know Matt went absolutely bonkers when Dad would ask Matt to grind his toenails with a Dremel tool.
I did it once, and he didn't like the way I did it, so I was glad I did it.
You were smarter than us. I guess we did it right.
I can't remember what happened, but he said, "Okay."
Oh, I know what it was. Put the bevel on it. That's what he would always say. Put a bevel on it, because he wanted like the instead of it being like this, so the edge of the being straight, he wanted a bevel on it, so like shoes and socks and all that. Well, and so he'd be put a bevel, and it's like,
you know what? I understand that now. Because you
Yeah.
know, when I'm
You-
wearing
you slip
when I'm
everything
wearing
in,
my
yeah.
house slippers and stuff, and my nails get, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I'm not asking the kids to trim my nails. They'll get long and
Right.
claws.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
no, maybe at that point I'll have somebody coming in to help take care of me, and they can do it.
Yeah.
Visiting nurse or something.
Her name's Cindy.
Yeah. No, I'm not asking Cindy to do it either. I understand, you get, even though we tease about it a lot, there's always something behind the teasing that is reality.
Oh, I tell people all the time, like people I meet is like my humor and my like that when I say it's like no, I'm thinking it, so it's my delivery is funny.
Yes.
But there's truth in what I'm saying,
yes,
right?
exactly. Yes.
Like when we were together yesterday, and you had one of your coffee there at lunch, and I was like, "Do not resuscitate, everybody! Do not resuscitate," because you have a do not resuscitate
That's
order
right.
in place. But and so I just do that. So there is some level of humor, but there's also then a level of truth
Well,
too.
I think sometimes making it humorous is easier for the intake of it.
Oh, absolutely,
Than
sure,
just
yeah.
being,
Yeah.
Well, when are you gonna die, Mom?
Right, yeah.
But
And of course, the family I grew up in, I always knew that as a good bedside manner,
yeah,
right? Because with you, as a nurse and Dad as a doc, then of course that's what
yeah.
because
Well, you try to make things as easy for the person as possible.
Well, yeah, because there was some.
But I still have my friends, the girls that came to
Right,
visit. Like Linda, and she's still working, and I told her, I said, and Johnette too, because she volunteers in a resale shop.
Right.
And I tell them, do it as long as possible,
Yeah.
because and don't retire unless you have to.
Right.
Unless there's some, like maybe you have to because the company offers you early retirement.
Sure.
Whatever, but don't make the personal decision to retire from work until you absolutely have to.
Right.
I know people think that it's a drudgery to have to go to work.
Right.
But when you don't have to go to work, it's a real drudgery.
Right. Yeah.
Not only physically but mentally.
Sure. Yeah.
So my suggestion is that people work as long as they possibly can to keep.
Yeah. Oh,
It keeps you mentally stimulated.
Well, that's
too,
the thing. I
besides
mean,
physically.
yeah. And work can be, and again, that's not necessarily a job, right? Like you're working
Yeah.
for the man kind of thing, right? It's doing something, right?
Right.
A purpose, right? Having the purpose, right?
Well, and I always kind of felt badly because Matt often had jobs that he really didn't particularly like.
Right.
I remember one, and it was not only the jobs, but the people he was working with, and I think it was Rack Space when he was at that IT place. But anyway, I always felt badly for him because I said, there is nothing worse than waking up and dreading to go to work.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I never had that feeling. I was tired sometimes
Right.
and thought, geez, I don't want to go to work today.
Yeah, right, sure, yeah.
But as far as the work is concerned, if you enjoy your job, then stay with it.
Yeah, and I think, it's like the business I'm in, the business that you were in, both nursing and education, it's a people business.
Yes.
So you really never know what you're going to get every day. Going to some place or going to do the work, let's say, it can be kind of drudgerous, but you never really know what the day's going to bring you,
That's true. And especially when you're working with young people.
Yeah, sure.
When you're
Absolutely.
going into a classroom, and you know that.
Oh, yeah,
you were in a classroom, and so you never knew what to expect. When I moved into administration, then it was a little different story, and I missed having that interaction with the kids for a long time when I took that job.
Right.
Because I could go to the schools and be in the classrooms and observing the teachers or doing whatever, but I never had that the interaction with the kids again, and I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're right, it's a people thing.
Right, yeah.
And that's part of this too. Yes, I have a very nice place to live, and I appreciate that very much. But there's not a lot of interaction.
Yeah, well, that's what you said. You said, well, heck, all this COVID-19 stuff has been great for me because you come to visit more.
That's right. I said that. Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm seeing Mike at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it's been nice because, we talked a little bit about not like losing that privilege, and it doesn't seem like a privilege to most people,
right.
but losing that privilege of going to the store, it's nice to have somebody now.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the fact that there's somebody who does it for me,
mm-hmm.
because this, my engine is getting so worn down,
right.
so retired,
right.
that it's just not a pleasure anymore.
Right, yeah.
The girls, when they were here visiting, and we talked about, because we would go shopping all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When June moved to San Antonio, and one of the big things was to go shopping.
Sure, yeah.
And when they came to visit, we didn't go shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so your life, when you retire, although it sounds glamorous, your life changes drastically.
Mm.
And I know there are a lot of married couples that once the retirement happens, that's when strife. And they've been happy up to that moment,
sure.
And then the wife will say, "Oh God, I wish he'd never retired," or whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand that because it does. It puts extra pressure
mm-hmm.
on relationships.
Sure, yeah.
And I think about that. Cindy and I kind of talked about it because she mentioned about people being in Lowe's when you went the other day,
mm-hmm.
and wearing masks. Well, if you have to wear a mask, why are you here?
Right.
And I told her, I said, I got to thinking about that. Well, it's because all these men, and I'm going to use the men as an example, our fathers are home and they need something to do.
Right,
so they got to go to Walmart and get stuff to make projects that they haven't been able to do because they haven't been home.
Right, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so it makes sense that they would be out shopping at Lowe's,
right. Sure.
which they shouldn't be.
Right, yeah.
But because when I was staying at your house while you were in Savannah,
mm-hmm.
and I would go out to get the mail or take my little walk in the
mm-hmm.
driveway, the guy across the street was woodworking in his garage,
uh-huh.
and I thought, wonder what he's making. And finally, on that last day,
uh-huh.
he even had it painted, so I knew exactly what it was. It was a wooden flower box.
Oh.
Nice little square flower box. And I thought, I bet that was something his wife's been wanting. And now?
Yeah, I talked to him for the first time across the street yesterday, because the street is like, a river of lava now because of all this stuff, in our brains. Like, but I hadn't talked to him in
who knows
years.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, we got neighbors down the road that actually like us, right? And we saw them, this is months ago, but all of a sudden they're like, "You still live here?" Because we're one of the few houses that
has it resold.
Well, but we're also all buttoned up. So when you look at us from the road, all the trucks are in the garage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't even know anybody's home. Everybody else's cars, you can tell. They're home because their car's out in the driveway and all that kind of stuff. So that people don't even and then all of our stuff's in the back inside the house and the backyard.
Yeah.
And so nobody knows that we're ever there. And with the screening of the trees that we put in years ago,
Yep. You're right.
Yeah. It's like nobody knows, which is okay, right? Because then that's part of we got the choice of when we want to go interact with people.
That's good. Yeah. But anyway, I thought, I bet there's a lot of honeydew lists that are being taken care of.
Yeah, even at our house. Gutters and washing the house. We might get to washing the house today. And we did the lawn not uber good, but at least.
What does that mean?
Uber?
Uber good.
Over. Like, I think Uber. I think Uber is a German word.
Are you sharing
Yeah, it's my internationality. Kind of like ooh la la.
Ooh la la, okay.
Actually, that reminds me of a funny story with when Matt and I were on the backpacking trip. And so my brother and I, when I graduated, well, that's how I say it. When I graduated high school and Matt graduated college, they really didn't line up, but that's what we say. Mom and Dad gave us, actually, what they gave us was airline tickets into Frankfurt, Germany. 6.5 weeks later, they gave us tickets then out of London, gave us some traveler's checks and one credit card, and said, go to Europe, come back 6.5 weeks later.
We were in Japan.
And they were in Japan, but on that trip, now I can't remember what did you say? Do you remember what you said? Because I don't remember what you said that made me think about the story of
Uber. We were talking Uber and your internet.
Oh yeah, so we were going. Thank you,
You're
Mom.
welcome.
See,
my brain is still active.
Yeah, mine's not so much. Actually, mine's just nonstop, so I forget.
Yes.
So Matt and we're in Spain, and Matt's like, oh, I get to use my Spanish, and Matt was not an extrovert like me. He was an introvert, but he had his moments. When they happened, they were kind of like Eddie. When they happened, they were pretty funny. And so Matt is just like, okay. So we went into this pub, and Matt's like, dos cerveza. And the bartender's like looking at us like, you dumb. And so Matt's like, he's like, what? He's like, Matt's like, dos cerveza. And I'm just sitting there like, the guy's like, nah, I don't know what you're saying. So finally, Matt just goes, 2 beers. And the guy goes, 2 beer, yeah. Like that. And Matt's like, beer is an international word, man. It's international. It doesn't really matter. And that's been my experience, too. It doesn't matter where you go,
just
man.
Say beer.
You just say beer, and everybody knows what you mean. That is definitely international word. So when you said that, I was like, oh, my God, yeah. What does Uber mean? That's my international.
Yeah.
Coming out.
No, and you say that, and there's a story for my granddaughter, Grace, Alex, that she thought she could speak French really well because she took it in high school. She found out something different. And she went to France with Mike and Cindy.
Yeah.
And so she ate onion soup the entire week.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That's a whole nother funny story because that's the same thing. We actually thought, because she could actually, in our experience over there, she could actually read and even write it well, but she would always order soup de l'oignon. So Alex, her name is Grace Alexandra, and so we call her Grace because we knew her from popping out and right.
Yep. And
but she goes by Alex, so Alex, and so we get over there, and we and Cindy and I, we took both Jack and Alex on a trip. We took Alex to Paris when she was 13, and 2 years ago we took Jack when he was 17 to Japan. Alex wasn't really her choice to go to Paris, but Jack wanted to go to Japan. But we're over there, and with Alex, and she's ordering. We get there, and I don't know, we're talking now about Alex, so we're going to embarrass her, but she's a extrovert around people she knows, but an introvert when in public. Let's call it that. So we always knew her as, just flamboyant Alex and just all this stuff. We get over to Paris, and we're like, hey, yeah, you get to use your French. So she takes the menu, and we're at this first little place, and then we're like, and the guy's like, this is a mademoiselle, what would you like, whatever, I have no idea what he's saying, even though I took French in high school too. And all of a sudden, Alex is just like, soup de l'oignon? And we're like, what? Soup de l'oignon, s'il vous plaît. What? And so finally the guy's like, yeah. Oh, soup de l'oignon? Oh, yes, mademoiselle. That was like the first day. Next day, soup de l'oignon. Third day, soup de l'oignon. And then it's like the last day of our trip. We spent a week in Paris. Last day of the trip. And we look over and we're like, Alex, you don't like your soup? She's like, no, I really don't like French onion soup. And we're like, well, why do you keep ordering? It's like, well, it's the only thing that people understand that I'm saying. And we're like, sorry, I'm about to kill my mom with laughter, which might be a good way to go. And then it's just like, you all right? And then it's like, she's like, that's all they know what I'm saying. It's like, no, you're speaking, your French is good. It's just you're going, and so they can't hear you. So in her mind, she was like, that's all they know how I know what I say. So.
What we do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole nother story with me on that same trip that Matt and I, when we took the train from Frankfurt, went into Berlin. This is when the wall was still up, so it was still East and West Germany, and it was still East and West Berlin. When Matt and I get to West Berlin, and the whole McDonald's story with me, where we go to McDonald's because we're so hungry after the train ride, and I'm wearing, just like I have my own MAGA hat here, I'm wearing a hat that has the seal of the United States around Europe. Well, not all around Europe, because I lost the hat out of a train window. That's a whole nother story. But we get to this McDonald's, and I go to throw away our trash, and it says Danke on the trash bin. So we're walking around Germany for a week, and in Austria, and everybody's like, oh, Danke, Danke. And I'm like, Matt, I'm sorry, but I know I'm wearing this USA hat, but if people keep calling me trash, I'm going to be pissed. And Matt's like, hey, dumbass, what do the trash cans say at McDonald's in the States? And I'm like, thank you? Oh, shit. So a lot of friends and all that know now, they'll say Danke to me, like TJ and stuff. They'll say Danke. Man, don't call me trash, man. Because they know the story, so.
Oh, brother.
But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever tried anything like that.
Tried anything like what? Like marijuana? Oh, another story. Don't. That's for later. That's for mom.
That's when I'm gone. You can have coffee without mom.
I'll bring my green screen. I'll take a picture of you right here, so you can just be like this in all those videos.
No, I never tried to speak the language.
Oh, do a different, different language.
Because, and this is not a travel session, but in my experience. Mm-hmm. English is so well known, very few places, even in out of the way places. And I'm thinking mainly when we were in Portugal, because we visited so many little small towns.
Right, yeah.
And never had a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been I think that if you, invest the time, let's say, to try to communicate, then you can. I think that's what a lot of times.
What's the name of the little town that we took the train to, and to go get your ham hock in Germany when I went?
Spandau.
Spandau. When I was in Spandau, I went. You were off, and I was by myself, and I went in this department store because Doris had asked me to get. She'd had.
Was that the KaDeWe?
The
big one in Berlin?
No.
In Spandau.
In Spandau.
Oh, it's probably like Kaufman's or something.
I don't know. It was a huge department store, but and I wanted to get like a sleeper.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, in Spandau, English is not
the
language that's spoken daily.
No. Mm-mm.
So anyway, I finally asked someone that I thought that was working there, and I said something about someone who speaks English.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
And she went on, brought this lady back, and
nice.
I said, I told her what I was looking for, and she showed me. So a lot of time, and we did that in Switzerland a lot too. Mm-hmm. I asked people,
right? Yeah,
if they spoke English.
My experience is, and here's your tit. Here's your tit. Here's your tit.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking about tits, Mom. Jeez. That's not a Freudian slip. I was actually thinking about tits. Okay, I'm done. And so, but here's a tip. Is when you're traveling internationally and you really do need to you really need help or whatever. In my experience, find a young person.
There you go.
Find a kid or a college.
Usually they're learning English.
Yeah, either for business or in college or the school or whatever. Because So it's been. I mean, they'll come up and they'll have beautiful accents and all that. I mean, it's just pretty funny. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, do you speak English? And all of a sudden it's like Oxford English. I mean, you're like, dude, you speak better English than I do.
Yeah, right.
You know? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
So the tip for today is stay working as long as you can. Be active. You can
find that purpose.
You can be as active as you want, and your body is still going to have problems because you can be very healthy and still get problems, just
Sure.
as you age, and so you're gonna your body's gonna break down no matter what.
Right. Yeah. Here's a question. Do you think, and this is just completely, conjecture, but do you think that after this, that you're the whole COVID-19 thing, right? Because clearly, what seems like the majority of people who are dying from it are the elderly who have underlying health issues like yourself, right? And diabetes or high blood pressure or just whatever it might be. Do you think then there's going to be, that we're going to be able to, this will force our behavior to change like what I did last year with getting healthier?
No.
You don't think so? No, the world will just kind of, everybody will just.
I think this is just something that's interfered with life, and people will go back to whatever they were doing.
Okay.
No,
okay.
People aren't eating any healthier. I mean, look what we ate yesterday.
No, that's true. Yeah. We had fajitas and a taco bar,
which is not bad eating, but there was a lot of carbohydrates in that meal. And so people are not going to quit eating their chips and eating all their carbohydrates and stuff. Their booze.
And okay.
I don't think it's going to affect.
Interesting. Like obesity rate. Let's just do a statistic, right? Do you think that will be the question, right? So do you think the obesity rate in the world, or at least the U.S., will actually now decline because people will be like, wow, I need to get healthy because the next wave of virus is going to have a better chance to kill me? And what you say is no, not really. People just go right there.
I don't think people are going to change.
They won't.
I think what's interesting, and it's something you said, is yes, I think a lot of industry is going to change. Because number one, they're seeing that they can get the job done without as many people as they thought they needed.
Or their facilities, or just their process,
just
or
like
whatever it is.
We were talking about fast food restaurants having 2 drive-in windows and not even having a sit down.
Right. Do not resuscitate.
Sorry.
Don't you apologize.
It's still there.
It's the fluid.
No,
is it fluid?
It's a feeling of tightness or something.
Oh, okay.
And
are you running a fever?
No. No, but I do say I don't dare go out in public because if I have one of these coughing attacks, I'm going to be arrested for being
exactly.
out.
Oh, yeah. I said it to people. I said to my neighbor, the one across the street the other day, I said, there's a whole new class of people in the world now. And those are those who cough.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're ostracized, you're arrested, you're whatever it is, man. If you cough in public, oh my God, the looks. I watch now because that's the kind of person I am. I like to see how the world operates. That's how like big picture kind of stuff. So I'm walking around like Cindy. We were out and Cindy coughed. Huh?
Yeah, it's. Actually, I watched the news last night, which I don't often do. I know.
Did you have some wild turkey American honey afterwards?
I had it while I was watching it. But I thought it was interesting because I think it was the news, but anyway, whatever program it was that came on, because I was also on my iPad, but Cuomo. The young Cuomo, who's
Chris, the news reporter one? Yeah.
He's very sick with it.
Yeah, he says he's got a fever and something like that.
And so it's kind of interesting to hear people actually talking about how they felt.
Right.
Because that's the first I've heard it. And it's not a pleasant thing.
No, it's because it's a fever, and then obviously your body wants.
Well, he said it just felt like something was just ramming against his body all the time.
Yeah,
that feeling of pressure.
Sure.
And so it was kind of interesting to see that, and I thought, oh man, I don't want that. I don't need that. I don't need that extra.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
So I feel for those, and I also saw numbers, and I realize I might retract a little bit about one of our previous conversations on
here we go.
coronavirus.
Here we go.
Is that, well, no, more people have it than I realized.
Yeah, we're over 1 million now, but that's only reported.
And although they did mention how many have survived.
Right.
Got it and
Right.
survived, which was, I hadn't heard before. And then, I may have to stop talking.
Okay.
But actually how many have died. And now I realize that that's not a pleasant way to go.
Sure.
So it made me kind of back off a little bit on how I was saying it. It's a government.
But you did say that in that. But you did say that if I knew somebody, or if, then maybe my thoughts would be different.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's
But so I guess I can kind of see now why they're. The other thing is that there are so many people who are sick in the hospitals, and having been in that field, I feel for them. Number one, it's very difficult to take care of someone who's quarantined.
Right. Yeah.
There's so much extra work involved.
Right.
Even just putting on the equipment to go into a room. Because it's really called reverse isolation. It's where you don't want to go bring anything in. You don't want to get that, but you also don't want to take anything in.
Yeah, because now there's, from your, healthcare field and all that, now there's the whole debate about how people are using the masks and the gloves. Like, they're not doing anything because nobody actually knows. I remember when I would visit Dad in the ER, and Dad would say, "Hey, it's my son, blah, blah, blah. Would you mind if he assists me with sewing you up, with stitches?" And of course, Dad would be like, the whole process of putting on the gloves to keep them sterile. I would put them on, and then I would go like that. And Dad's like, "Oh, you can't use that hand, replace that glove because now it's no longer sterile, right?"
Yeah,
all this kind of, you touch yourself.
Yeah, you have to be very careful.
Yeah, people wearing masks and gloves.
But I also heard something about that, which I thought was very interesting. Is it's not so much to protect other people,
right? Yeah,
it's to protect you from putting your hands on your face,
right? Yeah.
When you're out, if you're wearing a mask and you accidentally scratch your nose or whatever, and so that made sense.
Right,
that you would wear a mask.
Oh yeah,
and so it's not. Oh, I don't want to say recommended. But it can't hurt.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. It's measured. It's a measure.
So I wouldn't belittle anybody for having a mask on or something, but. I thought that was interesting that it really is more to protect you than it is
to protect you from yourself rather than
really. Because you just don't realize how often you touch your face.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Yep. Unfortunately, we've got this organism has retired a lot of people so far.
Oh, it has, and that's going to be the interesting aftermath. How many people actually get to go back to work?
Yeah,
I think we might. And the problem is that, of course, people trying to get what's the term for when you want to get money and you're not working?
Unemployment.
Thank you. Unemployment. They're having trouble getting that because there's so many people who are applying.
Oh yeah, sure.
So they can't even get that. That $1,200 isn't going to last a family of four gets more than that.
Yeah, they get $500 a child. So it's.
But that doesn't last very long because just going to the store once for a family of four, you're going to spend over $200.
Right. Yeah.
So.
The mechanism. I said the mechanism. Or the money is great. I'll say that's great, but it doesn't change the process, the system. It's like, I got this money. I need shit paper. I go to the store. There's no shit paper.
Yeah.
This $1,200 doesn't do a damn thing for me right now for my immediate basic need, right? Exactly. Or whatever it be. So, so it's great. And everybody can think about it.
The grocery stores run out of things like ground beef. That's what most people eat.
Right.
Because they're going to make meatloaf. They're going to make stuff that they can have the cheapest meat, and you can't even get that half the time.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. If you drink soda or eat chips, man, you're good, because all of our stuff, I mean, those aisles are packed. But yeah, the meats, the breads,
Yeah.
all that, they're empty.
The staples of what most people eat.
Yeah.
You know, we buy whatever it is we want.
Right.
Most people buy what they need.
Right. Yeah. And we eat some weird stuff.
But you know, I see women in the store.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see women in the store, and I'd look at their carts, and I think, how can they afford that?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's everything that is super expensive, like canned, not just Coca-Cola, but those fancy brands.
Right, yeah, sure.
And I'm thinking they might have 2 or 3 cases on the
Right,
bottom
yeah.
of their cart, and then all kinds of chips and what I call easy foods for kids.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
like roll-ups.
Right, yeah, right,
I
sure,
used
sure.
to buy those by the
Yeah.
carload for you guys. But and I'm thinking, how are they able to do that?
Yeah.
Charge cards, I guess.
Maybe.
So that's another the credit card companies are probably, but then how are they going to justify charging interest?
Oh yeah, it's
And
like you
stuff.
said. It's gonna be a long-term recession,
Yeah.
because it's a ripple effect.
Yeah, and I think it's industry that we're going to see the biggest change in
Yeah. So very
our
cool.
country.
Yeah.
But then hopefully, maybe it'll mean we won't outsource so much. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
a whole nother conversation, right?
Maybe that'll take effect, let's not support other people. Let's try to support ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So even though the labor's cheaper, in the long run, it's not.
Well, is it now?
I don't know.
I mean, right? Is it now? I mean, so. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
All right, we're done.
we're done. Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry we got off on tangents. But by the way, these are not the golden years. Just thought I'd let you know
No.
that.
All righty. Bye.
Cheers.